The sun glints off the marble courtyard of the Emiri Diwan in Doha. The red carpet is rolled out, guards stand to attention, and the national anthems of two close allies echo across the plaza. Standing side by side, Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan exchange a brief nod, a silent signal of a partnership that has deepened through years of shared politics, defence cooperation and economic exchange. As the Turkish national anthem fades, the Qatari melody follows, its slow, proud rhythm underscoring the formality of the occasion. Rows of soldiers in white uniforms present arms while a brass band plays under the desert sun. The two leaders walk past the guard of honour, inspecting the lines carefully, a ritual steeped in symbolism. Every step, every salute, every exchange of glances is part of a diplomatic choreography that Doha and Ankara have perfected. Erdogan, in his signature dark suit, walks confidently across the ceremonial grounds, greeting senior Qatari officials, ministers, advisors and members of the royal court. Emir Tamim follows suit, welcoming members of the Turkish delegation. Behind the smiles and handshakes lies a complex web of regional calculations, economic, political and military, that has bound the two nations more closely than ever before. Inside the grand reception hall, the atmosphere shifts from ceremonial to strategic. The Emir and the President sit across from each other at a long table, flags of Qatar and Turkey flanking the room. Between them are folders of agreements, briefing notes and symbolic pens that mark the continuation of a long-term alliance. Their discussions cover a wide agenda: regional security, energy investment, and the continuing humanitarian crises in Gaza and beyond. Qatar has positioned itself as a mediator in some of the region's most intractable conflicts, while Turkey, under Erdogan, has sought to project influence across the Middle East and the broader Islamic world. For both leaders, this meeting in Doha is more than a courtesy visit. It's a reaffirmation of trust at a moment when the Middle East stands at a crossroads. In Gaza, ceasefire efforts remain fragile. In the Red Sea, tensions disrupt trade routes. In the Gulf, shifting alliances and normalization moves are rewriting the map of influence. Against that backdrop, Doha and Ankara continue to coordinate their responses carefully, balancing diplomacy with pragmatism. Erdogan and Tamim share a long history of cooperation. Over the past decade, Qatar has become one of Turkey's most reliable partners. During the 2017 Gulf blockade, when Doha was diplomatically isolated by its neighbours, Turkey stood by Qatar, airlifting food supplies and deploying troops to its base outside Doha. That loyalty cemented a bond that has endured through changing political seasons. Today, that same spirit defines their alliance. Trade between the two nations has grown steadily, surpassing $2.5 billion annually. Turkish construction companies are deeply involved in Qatar's infrastructure projects, while Qatari investments in Turkish real estate and finance have expanded rapidly, injecting billions into the Turkish economy. Defence cooperation remains a cornerstone, symbolised by the joint military exercises and the presence of Turkish forces at the Khalid bin Walid base near Doha. As cameras capture the leaders shaking hands before their closed-door meeting, aides exchange documents. Outside, the Qatari flag flutters beside the Red Crescent and Star of Turkey, a visual reminder of shared interest from the Mediterranean to the Gulf. The private talks extend beyond bilateral ties. Both countries are exploring a coordinated approach toward regional development and post-conflict reconstruction, particularly in Gaza and northern Syria. Turkish companies are poised to take part in rebuilding critical infrastructure, while Qatar continues to play a central role in humanitarian aid distribution. In diplomatic corridors, the Erdogan-Tamim partnership is often described as one of the most resilient in the region, one built not just on economics but on political alignment. Both leaders have positioned themselves as advocates for independent foreign policies, often challenging Western narratives and maintaining open channels with diverse global powers, from Washington to Moscow and from Tehran to Beijing. The symbolism of Erdogan's visit is particularly notable this year. With wars reshaping alliances and oil markets fluctuating, Ankara and Doha see themselves as stabilizers, actors who can mediate, invest and project soft power through diplomacy. For Qatar, hosting the Turkish president reaffirms its role as a regional connector. For Erdogan, it signals to both domestic and international audiences that Turkey's partnerships in the Gulf remain strong and strategic. Behind closed doors, discussions turn to defense technology and energy cooperation. Turkey is seeking to expand its drone exports and defense manufacturing ties, while Qatar's sovereign wealth fund eyes long-term partnerships in renewable energy and logistics. The two sides are also expected to coordinate on the next phase of reconstruction aid for Gaza, following recent pledges at regional donor conferences. In public remarks after the talks, the leaders emphasize unity and mutual respect. Erdogan thanks the Emir for what he calls Qatar's steadfast role in peace and stability across our region. Sheikh Tamim responds by underlining the enduring friendship and strategic partnership between their nations, phrases that have become diplomatic constants, but which carry renewed meaning amid global uncertainty. Outside the palace, the evening call to prayer echoes through Doha's skyline. The sun sets behind the West Bay towers and lights illuminate the Corniche. For Qatari citizens, the visit underscores their country's continued relevance on the international stage. For Turkish viewers, the images broadcast from Doha highlight Erdogan's active foreign policy, one that blends religious solidarity, economic ambition and political theatre. As the cameras capture the final handshake, aides step forward to collect documents. The two leaders exchange parting words before walking out together, Tamim slightly ahead, Erdogan by his side, a subtle visual of hierarchy and mutual respect. Photographers crowd the doorway as the Emir gestures toward the courtyard, and the two men pause for a brief photo opportunity before parting ways. In the background, motorcades wait to depart. The Turkish and Qatari flags wave atop black limousines. Security personnel clear the perimeter, and the delegation files out. Another chapter in a partnership that continues to shape Middle Eastern diplomacy. For Doha, today's meeting reinforces its role as a bridge between rival powers. For Ankara, it projects continuity and confidence in its Gulf policy. Together, the two nations demonstrate that even amid global turbulence, alliances built on shared interests and carefully maintained personal rapport can endure. As the footage closes, the viewer sees Erdogan's plane taxiing on the runway at Hamad International Airport. The Qatari escort salutes as the aircraft takes off, carrying with it the symbolism of another successful round of talks, measured, deliberate, and diplomatically precise. But beyond the ceremonial music and official smiles, the meaning of this visit stretches further. It signals to regional observers that Turkey and Qatar remain aligned, not just as partners, but as players shaping the region's political, economic, and humanitarian future. Their cooperation from defense to diplomacy continues to be one of the Middle East's most dynamic alliances, steady, pragmatic, and strategic in equal measure. And as the lights fade over Doha's skyline, the images of two leaders standing side by side linger, a reminder that in a world of shifting alliances, some partnerships are not just transactional, but transformational,